I'll be speaking on retirement planning for entrepreneurs as businessmen, but beyond businessmen, it applies to civil servants, it applies to everybody. The principles are the same. So, this is more like a practical guide for business owners and self employed persons or professionals. And one of the greatest misconceptions among entrepreneurs is the belief that their business is their retirement plan. That's one great misconception, that my business is my retirement plan. The business is not the retirement plan. Many business owners invest their entire lives building enterprises but fail to prepare financially for the days when they can no longer manage the businesses. We all pray for long life and we will live long. But definitely a point comes, Bishop will always tell us, you will not be young forever. A point comes when you can no longer run around the way you have always done. You can no longer monitor things the way you have always done. And if that point you do not have sufficient preparations on ground, the business will begin to retard. And at that point, so many persons will realize that I have always relied on this business and nothing else. And the business I have relied on is going down. The fact that one is getting old and then unable to manage does not mean that life has come to an end. Most times you still have 30, 40 years to still live. Some persons will realize that all that they have been able to put together will not be able to sustain them for 10 years. Some persons will realize that their business income goes down. There's nothing else that will bring in income consistently while in retirement. And so they have to begin to liquidate assets. And as they liquidate one asset after the other, a point comes when there's no more asset left and there's nothing to live on. So unlike salaried workers are usually under one pension scheme or the other. It may not be enough, but at least it is something. No matter how little they have a plan. Except that I have always said that the pension plan was not designed to carry the weight of retirement. It's only designed to augment it. You must have additional sources of income outside of that pension to rely on when you eventually retire. So for business persons and entrepreneurs and self-employed persons, you must design your retirement. You must personally plan your retirement. And the earlier you begin, the better. Whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, it's either you will retire yourself or life will retire you. Unfortunately, many successful entrepreneurs end up struggling financially at the end of the day. While they were strong and healthy, the business was doing fine. But the moment they retired, they realized that they were not prepared for that phase of life. They were not prepared for that season of life. Why? Because their businesses collapse. Sometimes their children cannot manage the enterprise. Sometimes illness prevents them from running the business or working the way they were working before. Economic conditions change, and then they never built personal assets outside of their businesses. That's the mistake so many persons make. So retirement planning for entrepreneurs is not optional. It is not optional. It is essential for long-term financial dignity and independence. You know, there are people, you see them, you respect them, they are looking good, everything is looking fine. And then the latter part of their lives, you begin to wonder what's happening to him. They begin to struggle financially. No, life is not designed to be like that if you plan. Now, retirement does not mean stopping work completely. It does not mean stopping work completely. It means that getting to a stage in your life where your basic needs are covered without active work. Being able to set up sufficient investments that can meet your daily needs so that even if you choose not to work again for the rest of your life, you have something to live on and the standard of your life will not reduce. Your income continues even if you stop working. That's the meaning of retirement. If your business stops today, The business you are doing as an entrepreneur, assuming you stop that business today, will you be able to live on and still maintain your current standard of living? That's the question. You choose to work not because you must work. So upon retirement, even if you have to work, you are not being forced by life to work. You are not working because you need to work. You are working because you want to work. So that is retirement. So for entrepreneurs, retirement may mean stepping back from daily operations. The business is running, but you step back from daily operations. You can stay in the comfort of your room and the business is still running. Transition to an advisory role. So other persons take over the management of the business and you just get to advise from your wealth of knowledge and experience, allowing professional managers to run the company. So whatever happens, a point comes that you may not be available to manage, and there are persons who were expecting that their children should take over the businesses. The children have also discovered their own love outside of your business, and they are pursuing their own lives. So what do? You can have professional managers who will manage your business. They are on salary, and yet you are making income. You are living off investments and passive income. That's the major point. At retirement, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, it is you being able to live off your investments. The business generated money. The money that was generated by your business was invested in assets and invested in various ways, and now you are receiving passive income. The key question every entrepreneur must answer is, if my business stops today, can I still live comfortably? If my business stops today, if I close that business and I want to just rely on any other source of passive income coming, will I be able to survive and live comfortably? And if the answer is no, what it means is that you are not prepared for retirement. So, number two, why retirement planning is more important for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs face unique financial risks. And I'll run through them. I've mentioned, number one, no structured pension system. Most times entrepreneurs run their business, the money comes, they spend, the money comes, they spend, the money comes, they spend, and there is no structured pension plan. No structured pension system. Those working in some organization or working in government, they are either under the contributory pension scheme or the old pension scheme, where they retire and still earn their basic salaries. So, but for entrepreneurs, they have to create their own pension system. Number two, income is unpredictable. The economy is high today, is down tomorrow, and so there's no businessman who earns a consistent income. Sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes it's down. And for many persons, the good years, the income of the good years are wasted. And when the bad years come, they end up realizing that the little they had saved up is used up because they did not manage their finances well. Number three, there's business dependency risk. Many entrepreneurs rely 100% on their business income, no other source of income. What it means is that if anything happens to that business, what happens to them? They are finished. Why? Because their business is the only source of income they have. And businesses face a lot of things: competition, economic downturns, poor succession planning, technological disruptions. There are businesses that have died simply because of some technological innovations. Some businesses have gone extinct. Government policies and all of that. Then there's the health risk in old age, which also affects businessmen. Now, major retirement risk entrepreneurs must manage. Number one is longevity risk. I've talked about it previously. You retire at 60, you still have several years to live. And that's what we pray for everybody. But the risk there now is that, do I have what it takes to survive those years? Do I have what it takes to survive those years? Business failure risk is there. There are businesses that have gone extinct, like I said, they failed. There's health risk, there's inflation risk. A million naira today will not be a million naira in 5 years' time. In 10 years' time, it's even less than, it's worse, it's less than that. The purchasing power keeps falling because of inflation. There's a family dependency risk. Many persons are relying on you. People rely on you, extended family, children's education, social obligations. So without discipline, the life of a businessman will be under pressure. Immense pressure, pressure from within, pressure from without. So you need to be disciplined about your finances to be able to have a plan that will sustain you in retirement. So what is the first rule of retirement planning? Separate your business money from your personal retirement money. You must know that this is the money for my retirement, and so whatever my business needs today and whatever I need today cannot take me there. This money is being saved up for a time later in the future when I'm no longer able to work as I am doing now. And you must be disciplined to keep that separation. Discipline to know that, yes, of course, your business is the one generating income for today. But God gives us bread and He also gives us what? Seed. So out of the money your business is generating today, there's a bread element which is for your current day-to-day sustenance. But the seed part of it must be saved because that is for tomorrow. It goes into your retirement finance. And the money for your retirement finance, you must plan it such that it is growing towards that certain time you have fixed for your retirement. So if you say, my business will take care of my retirement, and that's what most people say, my business will take care of my retirement, that's a big mistake. Because you know what the business looks like today, but you don't know what it will look like in 5 years' time. So you are taking a big risk to say that your business will be your retirement plan. When you retire, it means that you are likely not to be working again, and you don't know who is going to manage that business. You don't know how that business will survive after you stop active participation in the management. And if you plan on it and it fails, then you will have to suffer regrets in retirement. So your retirement plan must include assets outside your business. Entrepreneurs must deliberately build multiple streams of income that will sustain them after retirement. And there are various income streams that can be considered. Possible retirement income sources include, number one, investment income. As much as possible, it is good that you spread your income around all of these available income streams. So number one, investment income. Everyone here must be able to understand the concept of mutual funds. Mutual funds, money market mutual funds, stocks and shares. You must be able to invest in stocks and shares. That is what? Investment income. Then there is rental income. Rental income, you are investing in, properties that will pay rental incomes annually or at certain durations. Then dividend income. Dividend income is the returns you get from your investment in shares or the business of others. 4, pension funds. 5, royalties. And then 6 is your business profits. That's if the business survives you. If the business remains in your retirement and is able to generate income, it only forms one of your income streams in retirement. But for most business persons, that is about the only income stream they are relying on in retirement, and that's a great risk. So the goal is to create passive income streams. The goal is to create what? Passive income streams. That is income that is being generated without you necessarily having to work again. You have worked once, now you are no longer the one working. What is working? Your money is working for you. If you have read the Rich Dad's quadrant, there's the employee quadrant and the self-employed quadrant, and on the other hand you have the business quadrant, business owner quadrant, and the investor quadrant. The people who are employees and self-employed are struggling to leave that half of the quadrant to the other half where they own business systems. You know, many of the people who own businesses think that they're in the business quadrant. No, most of them are in the self-employed quadrant. Any business that cannot run without your participation is not a business. You are self-employed. If you must be there for the business to run, that is not a business system. You are not in the business quadrant. You are in the self-employed quadrant because you have to be there to run the business. You are the one who is making the purchases. You are the one who is doing the marketing. You are the one who is doing the production. If you are not there, nothing happens. You are not a businessman as far as the rich dad quadrant is concerned. You are self-employed. And that's one quadrant that has a lot of stress because you must work. You have to work to produce money. But for the business quadrant, you build systems. So you build systems such that the system works for you. The system produces money. The employee uses his or her time and energy to produce money. The self-employed uses his energy to produce money and his time. The businessman uses systems. Systems work for him. So you set up a system such that you only have to manage, you only have to monitor the system to ensure that things are working right. So even if you are away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the things that needs to be done will still be done. That means you have a business system. Now, whether you are in any of these three quadrants, the ultimate goal is to invest in the investor quadrant. The investor quadrant is that quadrant where passive income is generated. Why? Because you are investing in other businesses and your money is now working for you. So that's the ultimate goal. And in retirement, since you no longer have to work in retirement, then you must plan such that, number one, either a system is working for you, but beyond that system which belongs to you, you should also have your money working for you. The goal for retirement planning is to create passive income streams. We go to practical retirement planning strategies for entrepreneurs. Number one, or let me say A, is pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Every entrepreneur should treat retirement savings as a mandatory business expense. Every entrepreneur treats retirement savings as a mandatory business expense. As important as you requesting supplies is, as important as you paying your tax is, as important as you paying the salaries of your employees, the same way you have to treat your retirement savings as a mandatory business expense. That is how you pay yourself first. You see, there's a word I use. You must place value on your future self. Who you are today is great. We thank God for who you are today. But who will you look like in retirement? What do you intend to look like in retirement? Some people become a shadow of themselves in retirement. And if you love your future self, you would have to prepare for him or her when? Today. By saving towards that future time which will come. Every month, allocate at least 10 to 20% of income to retirement savings. Even when the business fluctuates, when business is down, save. When the business is doing well, save more. Number two, invest outside your business. Like I said before, one great mistake most entrepreneurs make is to put all of their investments into their business. All of their monies into their business, all of their income reinvested into the business. You have this one business that if anything happens to it, then you have nothing else left outside of that business. That's a mistake. That's an error. So diversification is essential. Diversification is what? Essential. You need to consider other areas where you invest your money. For instance, real estates, treasury bills, bonds, mutual funds, stocks, cooperative investments. So you should be able to diversify your retirement portfolio by investing in all of these. Investing in treasury bills, bonds, mutual funds, stocks has never been easier now than before. Why? Because today we have digital platforms that can help you to invest in stocks and shares. You can invest in them from the luxury of your homes just using your mobile devices. That is how easy it has become. So there are various apps like the Bamboo app, the Meristem, the ARM one, the Throve, Stanbic IBTC. There are various platforms. All you need to do is to choose which one suits you and then begin from somewhere. So all you need to do is to download the app, fill the necessary details, and then wait for a few days to get what you call your CSCS number and your CHN numbers, and then you fund your wallet on the app, and then you begin to trade. As simple as that. Once you have been able to set up this platform once, all you need to do is now to decide for yourself the regularity, how regular you want to invest, either weekly or monthly, and then set a target for yourself depending on your retirement numbers. What we call retirement number is the amount of money you want to have invested as at the time of your retirement. And everyone needs to know their retirement number. Very important. So there's a way to calculate your retirement number depending on how much you want to earn monthly as at the date of your retirement. You can choose to say, okay, I want to retire at 60. I want to retire at 65. How many years do I have between now and 65? Now, what is the amount of money I should have monthly to be able to maintain my current standard of living? You begin by even asking yourself, how much do I need to go through a month now? 200,000? 300,000? You know that by the time you are retiring, that amount of money will no longer be able to sustain you in a month. So there's a way to also factor in inflation. 5% inflation, and then you do the calculation so that you know the maths. And if you have a certain amount of money at retirement, you know that you begin to draw from it. You are no longer working, so you are not getting money externally into that business anymore. Of course, your initial capital will still earn some amount of money over the years, but as you draw monthly, the money begins to reduce. So there's also a means of calculating how long will that money last. This money I'm planning to save up for retirement. If eventually I retire, how long will it last? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So, and that also helps you to calculate how much you should begin to save on a monthly basis now. What's the minimum you should be able to invest on a monthly basis now? If you are not able to save up to that amount, no problem. The most important thing is that you should set a figure and begin to invest. And stay consistent monthly. No month should pass without you adding to your investment savings. Never put 100% of wealth inside your business. So self-employed professionals such as lawyers, doctors, consultants, artisans, freelancers, contractors, small business operators, they face unique retirement challenge because their income stops the moment they stop working. No retirement coming from government, no pension rather coming from government, and if they were never part of a contributory pension scheme, it means that there's nobody sending them money monthly. They now have to rely on whatever they have been able to create for themselves based on their investment plan. So unlike business owners who may step back while company continues, many self-employed people operate personal income machines. They work to produce the money. There are some persons that if they, for any reason, fall sick for 1 month, there's no income for that month because they have to go out for the money to come in. The earlier you begin to plan, the better, because whether we like it or not, tomorrow will come. And whatever tomorrow will look like is a product of your planning and preparation today. So therefore, retirement planning for self-employed must be intentional, it must be structured, and it must be disciplined. Somebody working in an organization like a bank or a university or something, and there's contributory pension, even before your salary comes, the pension part of it has been deducted. You don't even get to see it. It has been deducted, and the organization adds their own, and it is paid to the PFA. So a point comes, you don't even consider it as part of your salary, but it's building up. But for a man who is self-employed, no plan. No plan. And it's a very terrible thing. Convert active income into passive income. You have to convert active income while you are working. The income you earn, like I said earlier, is both bread and seed. So the active income must be converted to passive income. You must invest that money in some vehicle that will keep generating money after you stop working. Every major income opportunity should produce a permanent asset. I'll explain that. Every major income opportunity, maybe your normal income is in a month 200,000. After you run your business, well, one particular month everything went so well and you made 1 million or you made 2 million. Of course, you have taken out the 200,000. You now have something extra which is beyond the usual. The temptation is to begin to consume it on immediate needs. But knowing that you are self-employed and that your tomorrow you have to plan for your retirement, that money should go into the future. Particularly because most persons begin late. Most persons begin to think about retirement late. The best time to begin to plan for retirement is as soon as you start working. The very first day you start working, you begin to plan for retirement. For those who get employed, from that first day, government begins to work towards their retirement. And for those who are into contributory pension scheme, from that first day, from the first month's salary, their own contribution is already deducted. But the businessman thinks that he has a whole lifetime to flex. When I'm close to retirement, I start. That time is already late. And at that point, all you are doing now is damage control. So most persons fall into that, class of persons who begin late. That's why when there's that major windfall, what do? Carry it in bulk and put into your retirement to salvage some of the years that you have already wasted. Create an emergency fund. Number 3, create an emergency fund. Every entrepreneur should maintain at least 6 to 12 months of living expenses in liquid savings. For most persons, they want to begin to invest aggressively, and then they realize that they are stuck. They don't have money to push them through till the end of the month. They now begin to go back to their investment to borrow out of their investment. And it is a terrible trend for you to set that precedent that, I can go into my retirement savings to take something. The moment you do it once, you can do it twice. So it is something that should be completely avoided. If you have separated your personal income from your retirement income, nothing should make you go into your retirement income to take money for today. And the only way you can avoid doing that is by building what we call emergency fund. And it's not rocket science. Emergency fund, you can build it. If your money is coming in bits and pieces, you save and set up your emergency fund first. And if maybe one big money comes, you got 500,000 or possibly 1 million naira, or even if it's 200,000, you say, okay, this one should start my emergency fund. Put it in an account that you cannot easily access. Not an account that you just take so and so star 232 hash and money is gone. Or an account that you take your mobile app and then you just do the regular transfer and it's gone. There has to be some difficulty in accessing the money. So it should be such that you must go to the bank personally, fill some forms or whatever to get the money out as an emergency fund. And you keep putting money there, saving money there until you have at least 6 months of your living expenses saved up as an emergency fund. The benefit of it is that today's Nigeria, there's really nobody to borrow money from. Everybody is trying to protect the little that they have. So once in a while, maybe you have need of 20,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and you are stuck. Then where do you borrow from? It's easier to borrow from yourself. When you have the emergency fund, you go borrow from yourself and treat it as if you are borrowing from somebody else. That must be in your mentality that this money is not my money. And as soon as you would have paid to a third party you borrowed from, you pay back to that account. And then the money returns to that account. If you're able to establish an emergency fund, it gives you stability when it comes to finance. Because even if you see your account running red, you are not under pressure. You are able to survive and manage to the point where money comes. But if it becomes absolutely necessary, then you can now borrow from your emergency funds. Emergencies do occur. Emergencies happen. There are things that may happen suddenly and you are not prepared for them. Then you can quickly take money from the emergency fund, address the emergency, but as soon as possible, you refund the money. Now, if you have emergency fund and you begin to invest for your retirement, you will not be tempted to go and borrow from your investment. So you don't need to rush yourself and say, no, today I must have emergency fund and today I must begin to invest aggressively. No, you have wasted time, but the next best time to start is now. Be structured about it. I first plan what is my number for emergency fund. How much do I want to save up in my emergency fund account? 500,000? Fine. This month, next month, even if it takes you 3 months, do the best you can to ensure that you save up and then have an emergency fund. And be true to yourself. You only go there in real emergencies. You don't go there because you want to fund a luxury spending that is unnecessary and you go and take from emergency. That is not an emergency. Now, invest in income producing assets. Retirement planning should focus on assets that generate regular income. Some people who have their investments and they invest in certain properties that, one, they don't generate income regularly, and two, you cannot easily liquidate them. You know, like Daddy told us of somebody who was a very rich man living whether in Banana Island or somewhere, and he was very hungry. And somebody was sent to give him either 1,500 naira or something. 1,500 naira becomes a big money. He cannot just carry one of the big cars and sell just because he's looking for breakfast. VGC in Lagos. You know, so you need to have assets that bring in income from time to time, not assets that give you name. They say, oh, he's the owner of this mighty thing. The mighty thing is not bringing in money. And you want to keep seeing the mighty thing. It's like a monument. It's yours, but it's not helping you. I don't know if you understand. So there are assets like that. People who are very rich and yet very poor. They have assets. The assets are not generating income. The assets only gives them name. Yeah, that it belongs to that man who is a big man. But big man is looking for 30,000 naira. And 30,000 naira is nowhere to be found. So you must be careful to ensure that you invest in assets that generate income. For instance, rental property. Then dividend paying stocks. It's not every stock you invest in that pays dividends. So there are dividend paying stocks, and you should know when investing, particularly when you are putting major monies into investments, there should be stocks that pay dividends. Then agricultural investments. Agricultural investments, for instance, if you have a palm tree plantation, every year it will produce, and for that year you will get something. You have a cashew farm, every year it will produce, and you get something from there. Then use pension schemes for self-employed. There's pension schemes for self-employed. What used to be called the micro pension scheme in 2025 has been rebranded by the federal government. It is now personal pension scheme, personal pension plan. So on your own, you can go to a PFA and then register with the PFA of your choice, and then you begin to invest a certain amount of money regularly, either weekly or monthly. So aside your other investments, you can choose to say, okay, for my personal pension plan, I'm putting in 10,000 naira every week or every month. So that becomes one of your investment assets for retirement. And the PFAs, of course, will trade with the money, they'll do business with the money, and you see it. All of them have uploaded apps online where you can see the progression. You see what you have contributed, and you see the profits they have generated with it and added to your contribution. It is clear there. This is what came from you, and this is the value now based on the businesses they have done with your money. So that when you now choose to retire, that money can be converted to annuity. That money can be converted to annuity. You can take a part of it as lump sum and then the rest converted to annuity. Annuity is a monthly payment that comes for the duration of your life, like the regular pension scheme. So that you can now have money coming from your stocks and shares, you have money coming from your rental income, and then every month there's an amount of money, even if it is 30,000. Even if it is 50,000, there's an amount of money that comes from your PFA into your account as an annuity every month. It forms part of your retirement plan. One of the greatest threats to entrepreneurs' retirement is poor succession planning. Some people invest so much in their business, but with poor succession planning, all of that can be wasted in 2 months. 3 months, and their efforts are all gone down the drain. So succession planning involves identifying who will manage the business in my retirement, then training successors, documenting operational systems so that they can run the business the way you have always run it. Document your system, then separating ownership from management. So you can still retain ownership and then train managers who can manage and then feed you back. Options include family successions, that's children or relatives taking over the business, but they must be competent and interested. They may be competent and not interested. They may be interested and not competent. So they have to be both competent and interested. Now, a will or a family trust deed is an instrument that you can use for that transition. A family trust deed transfers the business to the family trust. You are there, and then you have other persons as trustees who begin to understudy you before you now transfer chairmanship of the trust to any of them who has shown the competence. Number 2, you could hire professional managers. Or number 3, you could sell the business entirely and then invest the entire proceeds into an asset that will generate passive income. Or you could do partnership buyout, sell your part to your partner